So what do you think about the BEE framework?
So guys, I was on YouTube just going through shorts and I came across this short video from Mark G, the podcast and chill thing that happens in South Africa, and I was so happy to read one of the comments from this one. You can't see me now. I think you can see me. Okay, so the thing is, this guy was asking if BEE is really working. Like, is it really working? Is it worth it and stuff like that? And to say the best, to say it in the most like clear way, non-biased and stuff like that, we can't say it's working. Like, it is there, it's supposed to work, it's a proper thing that was devised, but it's not working. It's just going around in circles and stuff like that, just confusing people, and the elite ones are only able to benefit this. Hi guys, hello guys, I hope you're fine. It's Bright again here. I just came across this video from Podcast and Chill. It was talking about the BEE thing in South Africa and asking if it's really working. And the guy that is there is giving some sort of answer, saying that he's like, I'm not so sure how I can connect what he's saying exactly to what's happening now, but he was saying that Mandela, when he got out of prison, he was saying he wanted to take all the stuff back and what, and then he went to the States, they negotiated with him and stuff like that, and deep colonizers thought of a plan that lets us give these people a false sense of ownership and stuff like that. You will listen to him. But the one thing that made me so happy is these guys here from the comment sections there. Where is it? Yes, this one. It's the Scooter Brown. If South Africa truly had black empowerment, the West would have bombed us long ago. This is a fact, and it's coming from someone who understands exactly how the world works, what's happening with Africa in the West. And then I went on to read the replies. My replies right at the top there, the one saying refreshing in South African, this and that. Yeah, like I was so happy to finally find someone South African who is understanding what's going on, because most of the people, they just think the foreigners, this and that and what stuff like that, but they are not really paying attention to what is happening also to their country. Our country is broken, I understand, yeah, but you can see here there is this one Lisoli Team, I don't know, say 100% they would have done to us what they did to Zimbabwe. And then we get two other replies saying facts, stuff like that. He knows exactly what he's talking about, this guy. If you really nationalize stuff here in Africa, if you really want to take stuff into your own hands, like what Zimbabwe did with the farms and stuff, these guys are going to stop at nothing to destroy your country, to destroy your economy. They're going to destroy your name. They're going to destroy your legacy. Like everything that you've built upon, they're going to destroy it. This is the reason why C. Mandela is laughed a lot, because he didn't come like directly for those things, for those assets. He didn't attack these guys so much. They had some sort of agreements and stuff like that, just like what Zimbabwe did. Zimbabwe had agreements with the British government about the land that they are going to be sponsoring the buyback of land from their descendants back to the black people of Zimbabwe. And when Mugabe was about to get, like he was saying, now it's too long before you guys are compensating us for the money that you're supposed to give us so we can buy back our land. They said, you made an agreement with the old government. It's no longer in power. We don't honor those agreements and stuff like that. Then Mugabe was, okay, if you don't honor those things, sharp, I'm going to take my land. I'm now not honoring what I promised them, because we said we were going to do willing buyer, willing seller, and you were going to be sponsoring it. Since we are the people that benefit a lot from looting our resources, so you do have capital power to help us get back our land. But if you're not going to be doing that, no problem. We're just going to take back our land non-stop. And they did that. Zim took back the land. They gave it to the farmers and stuff. And then you know what happened next? The economy was hit with sanctions. Quick, we were hit by sanctions. And these guys were spreading fake news. Like, this misinformation is still spreading to this day that, hey, it was corruption that was killing Zimbabwe's farms and stuff like that. But no, imagine you have been given a farm in South Africa here from the white person to you as a black person. The government is making sure they are going to be sponsoring you. They give you inputs like the fertilizers and stuff. They give you tractors, diesel, fuel, irrigation systems. Zim did that. Mugabe did that. They provided all those things to the farmers that were given the land, right? Some of the people that were given the land were already into farming. They knew exactly what they were doing. Some of them were working on the farms. Like, it's people just say the whites, they farm better, but at times it's us, the black people, who are managing and doing stuff on the farm. He's only managing the finances. And I'm not saying it's bad, but what I'm trying to say is that us as black people, we know how to farm, we know how to produce food from the soil, we know all those things. But imagine you just got your farm this year, the next year you start farming, you make a big harvest, let's say of grapes. In South Africa, produce a lot of grapes in Cape Town for wine and stuff. You know very well that, hey, this year I did a lot. Maybe you even broke the record of the previous white farmer that was there. Now it's time for you to sell your grapes. You are told your country is under sanctions. You are not going to be able to sell your grapes anywhere in the world. If you sell them to South Africa, and look, you are in South Africa. In fact, if you sell them to Mozambique, we're going to sanction Mozambique. If Botswana allows you to sell them, we're going to sanction them. They isolated Zimbabwe. The markets were suddenly closed for our production. Like, anything that was coming from Zimbabwe was not being stopped. If you want to export it anywhere, the people that are buying it were going to be under sanctions. So what that does to a country is you lose out the market. If you don't have a market, no matter how good you are as a farmer, if there's no market for what you're producing, you're going to be closing down, you're going to be bankrupt quick. A good example was, some people might just think, oh, it was us as black people who doesn't know how to manage their farms. A very good example, and the recent one, is the one with United States at the moment. If you check very well, United States got into trade war with China, and China decided to punish them and say, we're not going to be buying your soybeans. We're going to buy anything from your farms. Look what's happening in the USA right now. Look what's happening to the farmers. They're struggling. They're selling farms. Stock is there, like they have a lot of produce that they have is rotting because there is no buyer. They don't have a market for the soybeans that they produced. So if it's that case, you are guaranteed to fail. Doesn't mean the Americans don't know how to farm. They know very well how to farm. They know how to produce soybeans, but their soybeans has been sanctioned by the Chinese, the ones that were buying almost all of it. Now they're buying it from Brazil and other Southern American countries. What that means is you lose out on the market. If you don't have a market, no matter how good the stuff you're producing, you're just not going to make anything work. Like, now look at it. Things are being relaxed bit and bit for Zimbabwe and stuff like that. And suddenly I think Zimbabwe is the best producer for the blueberries and stuff like that, etc. Zimbabwe is the best place to visit, this and that. You're starting to see these positive headlines about Zimbabwe. Why? Because the sanctions are being pulled down bits and bits. So if it's like that, it means now whoever was bashing Zimbabwe, saying it's a bad place, now all of a sudden they are promoting Zimbabwe because they say now we need to go to Zim. It's good because now it's no longer under sanctions and this and that. Not that the party that changed is now good. Not that the human rights are no longer being abused. It's still happening in Zimbabwe. Still, things are still tough for every Zimbabwean. That's why even as we are living outside of Zimbabwe, we're not saying people are not living good in Zimbabwe. There are people that are making it in Zimbabwe, but for the majority of us, it's very difficult. So we have to move out and try to live in other places and try to work. It's not easy, guy, to stay in a place when you're undocumented, when you don't have enough papers to move around. You can't open a bank account, you can't buy a house, stuff like that. It's difficult. No one wants to live like that. But as Zimbabweans, we are forced to do that in some cases. But trust me, the corruption that is happening in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, anyway, is the thing that are just maintaining the downfall and maybe helping it to continue. But it was never the cause. Corruption was never the cause of our downfall here in Africa or in Zimbabwe. You can't be corrupt alone. If you're producing gold in South Africa and you don't have a market for it, and then you start to sell it backdoor to the same people that are sanctioning you that you can sell it publicly, who is corrupting you? And if you refuse to be corrupt in that way, what are you going to do with your gold? Just going to stay with it? Think about it. So here in South Africa, the same case with BEE. This system is very good for the people. It's indigenization of resources and stuff. Yes, people have a stake in whatever is happening as a country, but the system is being abused, because sometimes we see that the people that benefit the most are the elite ones already, who are already there at the top, right? And us at the bottom of the food chain, we continue to suffer as the general citizens and stuff like that, which is something that is not good at home. But if you have a leader who is trying to fight that, quickly you see that the leader is going to be attacked and it's going to be labeled a lot of things, a lot of bad things. Look at Gaddafi. If you hear the history of Libya before Gaddafi was killed, how the people in Libya were living, they were leading a very, very good life. But just after he was killed, things went sideways. Because this guy was planning big for Africa, not only for Libya, but for Africa as a whole. Because he knew he had the most important resource that is needed ever is oil. Oil runs this world at this very moment, right? He knew that he had this. And then everywhere else in Africa, what do you have? You have diamonds, you have gold, you have platinum, you have this and that. We can make a block, like a trading block on our own. Even if they sanction us from outside, us as Africans will still be able to trade. It won't be 100%, but we'll push it to a point where it gets better. But because he was about to do that, they took him out. Mugabe took back the land. They sanctioned the country. They destroyed his legacy. You see? So now Ibrahim Traore took back the country. The reason why he took back the country, and all of you here are happy with that, guys, because now there is internet, social media. Right now, like what I'm doing now, you're able to get news in real time that Traore has taken back his country. He's giving it to the people. All those positive news, you get it instantly, right? In the past, that news was not coming to you instantly. It was going through Al Jazeera, News 24, what and what. These are the companies from outside of Africa that are giving you news. So if they say Traore is killing people in this country, what are you going to say? You just say, yeah, he is. Boss, maybe you saw some pictures. See how Ramaphosa was shown pictures that were not from South Africa. Those things were coming daily on your screens in your houses, everywhere you are. You were reading or watching that news. That was fake news for a very long time. So now, because of social media, you're able to get news in real time, quick and fast and efficiently, such that you know who is the right people and who are the bad guys. This general of theirs, the black guy that is from the American general that was saying Traore is becoming rogue, he is abusing the country's gold and what. You heard that guy. What happened? There was a big backlash from the public, from everyone around the world. Why? Because we knew exactly what was happening. And the reason why we knew exactly what was happening is because we now have social media. We no longer rely on CNN for news. We are no longer relying on BBC, on Fox News. We can now get the news directly on our own. Yes, we're getting it from other platforms and stuff like that, but we can now filter the news. We can now understand, okay, this is the truth, this is the fake news. Think of it. How many of you people around the world were supporting Israel for a very long time? When you hear that they're being attacked by the terrorists from Gaza or from Iran or wherever, you thought those guys are the best guys. Those are the real people. Because you were thinking they're close to US Christians and stuff like that, and the Arabs are just killing them for fun. But now you know exactly what was happening there. You now know that they colonized that country. They took the land from from the owners of the land, and they are pulling out a resistance. These guys are just fighting back for their land, like exactly what ANC did here with Mandela and whoever who were fighting for independence against apartheid. Exactly what happened in Zimbabwe to gain independence. It happened everywhere, even from India and wherever. All those places that were colonized, we got to fight and they got independent. They were fighting for their peace, for their independence, for their land. But if you check very well during those times, they were also labeled terrorists. Mandela was a terrorist to them. But now you know Mandela isn't a terrorist. He was fighting for his country. But the news everywhere that was spreading was Mandela is a terrorist. So you have to be very careful with this news that you consume, and be careful of what you know, understand about the African leaders and stuff like that. Because almost every African leader who is sharp here, who is trying to do the best for their country, they don't joke around. So if what you have is not like important enough for them, they're not going to come and make a war or anything. They're not going to waste resources like that. They're just going to sanction you. So now they can't fight China, they can't fight Russia. They said, no, we're going to be sanctioning these countries. They tried to sanction those countries, but luckily they were big enough such that the sanctions are not taking that much of a toll on these countries because they were already big. Even South Africa, if you are to be sanctioned today, the effects that you notice here won't be the same with what happened in Zimbabwe because the economy is much bigger. There's much more production that is happening here than what was happening in Zimbabwe in the early 2000s when we got these sanctions. Our country was still small. We were producing a lot of stuff, yes, but it was all agricultural stuff. There wasn't like industrial stuff that was coming out of Zimbabwe that you can say this industry is very strong. No, there wasn't much of that. Mostly it was agriculture. So that is easy to dismantle. It's easy to kill that kind of industry, that sector. Just stuff the market for just a few years, and everything crumbles on the farms closed down because no farmer can survive for even 5 years without selling anything to the market. You can't keep the farm like that. Obviously, the government will come and say, hey, you're not doing good with the farm, we're going to take it from you or passing it to the next person. And the next person, until it goes to someone maybe who has ways to sell things outside of Zimbabwe, like smuggling and stuff. They run the farm very well and they start making their money, but they're selling it in the black market, not like in mainstream markets where it's supposed to be. So BEE, guys, is good. The BEE is a very, very positive thing for South Africans. It's just being abused, and there's a lot of misinformation about this thing, such that almost everyone is starting to hate it and thinking it's just corruption, nothing proper. It's corruption, and stuff like that. China was doing the same thing when it was coming up. China was forcing all these companies that were coming into China that if you want to produce here, we are going to allow you to produce here, but we're going to have some shares. We're going to share. This company is going to be for you and for us. So if you are building your company here, we're going to take this percentage. You're going to train this amount of people to do this work. You're going to share this amount of technology so that we also know what to do and what we are doing. We can't just be making cars for you without understanding how the engine works or anything. You have to teach our people. And they did that. Those guys in China were strict with what they'd done. They were strict with their goals. So they managed to achieve whatever it is that they wanted. Look at it now. China's producing high quality stuff. But still they're being discredited because the West is always saying China makes shit stuff. China makes stuff that are not strong. China makes this and that. But it's not the case. Everything that is original that you were liking, all those luxurious brands, they are coming out of China. The iPhone that you love is made in China. You understand? So China can't fail to make a phone like iPhone or like a Huawei because they're the ones producing those things already. The problem is here in Africa, you'll be producing that but without the skill, without absorbing the skill. If we were to force those companies that are producing everything here in Africa to share the skills, like the proper sharing of technology, not this thing about just being a small technician, engineer and stuff like that, but like the core of these services, our countries will develop so much quicker because we will have a lot of people who know what's happening. Even if those companies are closing down and going out, we will still be able to run them. You get it? Do you get it? I hope you get it. Yeah. So BEE, it's sharp. The indigenization program that was happening in Zimbabwe, sharp. But it's Africa. So now I'm just going to let you listen to this guy as I promised. So I'm going to start with the question and then you just, yeah.
What do you do? So what do you think about the BEE framework? Is it really meant to uplift the masses, or is it like an elitist cartel?
And also, whose idea was it? BE. Was it really a black man's idea? Because there's an idea that it was just a white man's idea to say, oh, let's give a few of you a bit of change, and then you guys think you're all benefiting from it?
The BEE came because Mandela, when he came out of jail, remember Mandela was still fresh. The ANC, in the 80s and before that, it was aligning itself with Russia more as a socialist. They were always talking, we'll nationalize, we'll take mines. So Mandela, when he came out of jail, they asked him, how are you going to solve the black poverty? He said, we'll nationalize, mines. We'll nationalize all these key assets. He went to America, so he scared white people. In America and Europe, they were scared. They said, no, this guy, he wants to take everything. That's why in one of the meetings, it was shown on TV, Harry Oppenheimer was sitting with Mandela. I think Harry Oppenheimer even said it, that he's going to vote DP. It was DP that before it became DA. And then they said, these guys are a threat, because they're going to destroy this economy. You must give them a certain percentage so that they can feel, a sense of ownership and they can defend it. I mean, if you go there, let's say the company, for argument's sake, it has Rupert, as Ernest Oppenheimer or Nicky Oppenheimer, and they give Tokyo 1%, not even, having voting powers. Once we want to take over that company, be it a coal mine, you'll find Comrade Tokyo saying, it's black owned. Yeah, I can't touch it. You see, like they did. I mean, Karamaphosa is a clear example, because he's there sitting on board, maybe getting a mere fraction of the percentage. And then when these guys don't want to work, they say, go talk to your people there, run. Tell your minister there that, Lone Mill must operate.
Send the concomitant
concomitant action.
Concomitant action.
Bring the police.
So what do you think of...
You heard him. It's like that. And it's true. So if only this system was executed in the best way possible, there's going to be a lot of black ownership in these companies. If it's not about ownership, but about positions within the organization, we're going to have a lot of top-level black managers. If it's a science company, we're going to have a lot of researchers who are black, like this. We'll also be getting those high positions. But because it doesn't exist like that, we just look at it as a waste.
But the BEE framework, is it really meant to uplift the masses, or is it